Imagine living in a world where money flows to you with ease, where opportunities appear at the perfect moment, and where financial success is not a struggle, but a natural unfolding of your life. Too many believe wealth is only for the chosen few, but the truth is, it belongs to anyone who dares to align with the laws of abundance. If you are ready to break free from limitation and step into your rightful prosperity, here are 10 rules that will transform your financial destiny forever. Money responds to certainty, not doubt. When you hold an unwavering conviction that wealth belongs to you, the channels of supply open without resistance. Doubt is like a shadow that dims the light of prosperity, while certainty is the flame that draws riches into your experience. It is not about forcing money to appear, but about aligning your mind and spirit so firmly with abundance that there is no room for hesitation. In that state of certainty, opportunities seem to arrive at the perfect time. Doors open that once appeared shut, and the right people cross your path as if drawn by a hidden magnet. Certainty is a declaration of faith. It is standing in the middle of lack and still saying, "I am rich." It is looking at an empty bank account and still affirming, "Money flows to me in increasing amounts." This kind of assurance shakes the unseen world into action, for life always mirrors back the vibration we hold. When you doubt, you send out mixed signals, asking for wealth while expecting poverty. But when you are certain, you send out a clear command, and the universe must obey. Think of money like a loyal servant. It does not question, it responds to the orders given. If you instruct with fear, your servant hesitates. If you command with confidence, your servant acts without delay. Money is not hesitant toward you. It is your own uncertainty that delays its arrival. To shift into certainty, you must train your mind to speak only in terms of possession, never in terms of lack. Declare, "I always have more than enough," and let that statement take root until it becomes a truth within you. Certainty grows when you detach from the outcome. Doubt is often born from impatience, from needing to see instant results. Yet, when you know something is yours, you do not question when it will arrive. You simply prepare for its arrival. A person who orders furniture for their home does not pace the floor wondering if it will ever come. They create space for it, expecting the delivery. In the same way, when you are certain of financial increase, you prepare for it as if it were already at your door. To walk in certainty is to remove the language of if and replace it with the language of when. Doubt says, "If I become wealthy, then I will live free." Certainty says, "When I become wealthy, freedom is already mine." This shift may seem small, but it rewires your entire vibration. Your words shape your reality, and certainty is the key that shapes them into form. Money does not respond to wishful thinking or fragile hope. It responds to firm belief. Hope waits for signs, but certainty creates them. Hope looks outward, but certainty flows from within. Every time you choose certainty over doubt, you are building a foundation upon which wealth can safely rest. Doubt creates cracks that cause money to slip away, but certainty builds walls strong enough to hold riches securely. This kind of certainty is not arrogance, but alignment. It is knowing that you are one with an infinite supply, and therefore you cannot be denied. It is an inner calm that refuses to be shaken by appearances, for appearances are temporary illusions. What is unseen is greater than what is seen, and certainty anchors you to that truth. When you rise each morning and affirm with confidence, "Money flows to me freely, endlessly, and effortlessly," you are not begging or pleading, you are commanding. You are declaring a law, and laws never fail. The moment you eliminate doubt, the flow begins. Certainty is wealth's true invitation, and money can only respond to the voice that knows, not the voice that questions. True wealth begins in the unseen before it appears in the seen. Every fortune, every empire, every manifestation of prosperity starts first as an idea, a vision, a spark of belief that exists in the invisible realm. Before money fills your hands, it must first fill your mind. Before opportunities arrive at your door, they must first take shape in your imagination. The unseen is the womb of creation, the sacred space where abundance is conceived long before it comes into form. To ignore this truth is to misunderstand how wealth truly flows. The world teaches that money is only numbers in a bank, coins in a pocket, or notes in a hand, but those are only the shadows of something greater. The real substance of wealth exists in thought, faith, and energy. A poor person in mind can hold riches temporarily and still lose them, while a rich person in consciousness can lose everything and rebuild it again. Why? Because the wealth that lasts is not held in the hand, it is held in the unseen realms of the spirit and mind. To create from the unseen requires vision. Vision is the blueprint of wealth. A builder cannot raise a mansion without a plan, and likewise, you cannot build a prosperous life without first sketching its outline in the unseen. When you see yourself living in abundance, when you imagine doors of opportunity opening with ease, when you picture yourself free of debt and lack, you are constructing the inner image that wealth will eventually mirror in the physical world. Faith is the fuel of this unseen wealth. It is the quiet confidence that what you imagine already exists in the invisible supply, waiting for the right moment to manifest. Faith does not ask how or when, it simply knows. When you trust that unseen forces are working for you, you walk with a peace that no lack can disturb. You begin to act boldly, not because the money is in your hand, but because you are certain it is on its way. Faith transforms invisible riches into visible results. Gratitude also plays its part in the unseen creation of wealth. Gratitude shifts your vision from what is missing to what is already present, and that shift multiplies. When you thank life for the smallest blessing, you prove that you are ready for greater blessings. Gratitude is unseen, yet it draws seen wealth into your experience with undeniable force. It is the magnet that attracts prosperity from realms beyond your sight. The unseen is also where intention lives. When your heart is pure in its pursuit of abundance, not rooted in fear or greed but in purpose and alignment, your unseen intention carries power. Money becomes not just currency, but energy directed toward good, growth, and fulfillment. That intention, though invisible, is what pulls resources, people, and opportunities into your path. Patience is the guardian of unseen wealth. In the invisible realm, seeds take time to grow. You do not plant and harvest in the same breath. The moment you plant a vision, it begins to take root where eyes cannot see. To doubt during this time is to dig up the seed. But to wait with assurance is to allow it to grow strong enough to push into the seen world. All inventions, movements, and fortunes prove this law. The unseen idea of flight existed long before planes took to the skies. The unseen dream of light lived in the mind before the bulb illuminated the world. The unseen desire for wealth has always preceded the gold, the property, the business, or the inheritance. Every visible fortune is only the final echo of an invisible song. When you understand this truth, you stop chasing what is seen and begin cultivating what is unseen. You tend to your vision, guard your faith, express gratitude, set intention, and practice patience. In doing so, you prepare the soil of the invisible, and wealth has no choice but to grow into visible form. Words are seeds. Speak abundance, never lack. Every word spoken carries life, power, and direction. Just as a farmer plants seeds in the soil expecting a harvest, every phrase you release plants something in the unseen that will one day appear in the seen. If you plant seeds of lack by saying, "I can't afford this," or "money never stays with me," you are watering poverty and inviting it to grow. But when you speak abundance, when you declare, "I always have more than enough," or "wealth flows to me effortlessly," you are planting prosperity, and it must bring forth fruit in its season. The soil of life does not reject any seed, it simply brings forth what is planted. If a farmer places wheat in the ground, he cannot expect grapes to grow. In the same way, if you speak words of limitation, you cannot expect abundance to appear. Your speech is the daily sowing of your reality, and your tongue is the tool that decides whether you harvest lack or plenty. Every conversation, every affirmation, every declaration is a seed dropped into the fertile soil of the universe. Words are not empty sounds. They are containers of energy. Each time you say, "I am struggling," you are instructing life to confirm your struggle. Each time you say, "I am blessed beyond measure," you are summoning blessings to manifest. The unseen realm listens to the vibration of your words, and it answers accordingly. This is why it is essential to become conscious of your speech, for careless words often plant weeds that choke out abundance. Speaking abundance does not mean ignoring reality, it means shaping reality. A gardener does not describe the weeds he sees, he removes them and continues to plant good seed. In the same way, when you face financial challenges, speaking words of lack only multiplies the challenge. Instead, declare what you desire as though it already belongs to you. Speak as if the harvest is already in your storehouse, and life will align with that vision. Every great transformation begins with words. A business is born when someone says, "I will build this." A breakthrough begins when someone declares, "There is a way." The moment you speak, you set invisible forces into motion. Just as seeds grow in silence before breaking the surface, your words work quietly, shaping events, attracting people, and opening doors. You may not see results immediately, but the seed is working beneath the surface. To speak abundance is to align yourself with the law of increase. It is to recognize that words are not casual, they are creative. When you affirm, "Money comes to me from expected and unexpected sources," you are calling forth supply in ways beyond your understanding. When you say, "My life overflows with prosperity," you are writing the script of your future. Each declaration is a seed of truth that cannot return void. It is also important to remember that consistency waters the seed. Speaking abundance once and then canceling it with 10 statements of lack is like planting a seed and then digging it up. You must be steadfast, speaking only life, only growth, only prosperity until the harvest appears. The soil of life rewards persistence, and words repeated in faith create an unshakable foundation for abundance to grow. Words shape not only your finances, but your entire consciousness. When you speak abundance, you train your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You begin to attract people who mirror that energy. You notice possibilities that once seemed hidden, and you carry yourself with confidence rather than desperation. Words do not only change what comes to you, they change who you are becoming. The truth is simple. Every word is a seed, and every seed bears fruit. If you desire abundance, plant only abundance in your speech. Speak as though wealth is yours, as though prosperity surrounds you, as though increase belongs to you by divine right. In time, those words, like faithful seeds, will rise from the unseen into the seen, and your harvest will be plentiful. Every debt is dissolved by the law of divine supply. Debt is not permanent. It is only a shadow, an appearance, a temporary condition that bows before the greater truth of abundance. The law of divine supply declares that for every need, there is already a provision. For every debt, there is already a way prepared for its release. When you align your mind and words with this law, the burden of debt begins to dissolve and freedom takes its place. No matter how great the number, no matter how pressing the demand, the law of divine supply is greater still. Debt feeds on fear, on worry, on the belief that resources are limited. The more you focus on what you owe, the more you bind yourself to lack. But when you shift your focus to the infinite supply that surrounds you, debt loses its grip. It cannot remain where abundance is acknowledged. Just as darkness vanishes before light, debt vanishes before the recognition of divine provision. The energy of worry attracts more struggle, while the energy of faith invites unexpected doors, surprising solutions, and hidden resources that clear every obligation. To dissolve debt, you must stop claiming it as your own. The words "my debt" strengthen its hold. The law of divine supply cannot move freely while you are affirming ownership of lack. Instead, speak release. Declare, "Every obligation is now cleared by divine law. I am free from debt, and abundance flows to me without end." In doing so, you plant a seed of freedom, and that seed grows until the harvest is seen in your finances. Words of release carry power greater than any bill or notice placed in your hand. Divine supply works in ways beyond human reasoning. Sometimes it cancels debt through sudden increase, a gift, a promotion, or an unexpected source of income. Other times it creates a shift in circumstances where debt is forgiven, reduced, or resolved without effort on your part. To the limited mind, this seems impossible, yet the law of divine supply is not bound by human limitation. It moves through channels seen and unseen, using whatever means necessary to bring release. When you trust the law, you stop clinging to fear and allow the unseen to perform its perfect work. Debt often teaches a soul the value of surrender. Many carry the weight of trying to solve it alone, depending only on their own strength, only to sink deeper. But when you surrender to the truth of divine supply, you invite a higher wisdom to take control. You realize that your source is not your job, not your business, not even your own effort. It is the infinite storehouse of the universe. And from that storehouse, there is always more than enough to cover every debt and still leave abundance overflowing. Faith is the key that unlocks this law. Faith looks at the mountain of debt and says, "You are dissolved now." Faith does not ask how, it simply knows. Each time you affirm freedom, each time you declare abundance, each time you thank the unseen supply for clearing the way, you are applying spiritual law to what seems like a financial problem. In truth, it is not a money problem, but a consciousness problem, and once the consciousness shifts, the condition must shift also. Every debt carries a vibration of heaviness, but the law of divine supply carries the vibration of freedom. The moment you stop identifying with burden and begin to identify with abundance, you rise above debt's frequency. It cannot survive where freedom is affirmed. You may still see the numbers on paper, but the energy behind them has lost power. And as the energy dissolves, the physical debt follows, disappearing in ways that may astonish you. The law of divine supply does not recognize lack. It only recognizes fullness, overflow, and provision. When you align with this truth, debt becomes powerless. It is no more than a shadow passing over the light, destined to fade as you continue to affirm the abundance that already belongs to you. The universe holds no unpaid accounts, for in divine order, all is balanced, all is provided, all is made whole. Gratitude multiplies what is already yours. It is the secret force that transforms little into much, that expands the smallest seed into a full harvest. Gratitude is not just polite acknowledgement, it is a powerful vibration that aligns you with the law of increase. Whatever you bless with thankfulness grows, and whatever you neglect with complaint diminishes. The moment you express gratitude, you shift your focus from lack to abundance, and life mirrors that shift by giving you more of what you celebrate. When you begin to thank life for what you already have, even if it seems small, you open the door for greater blessings to flow. A person who says, "I am grateful for the money I hold," will soon find more money drawn to them. A person who complains, "This is not enough," will soon find even less in their hands. Gratitude is multiplication in action. It takes what is present and magnifies it until it becomes overflow. Gratitude also dissolves resistance. Often, people block their blessings by focusing only on what they do not yet possess. This creates tension, worry, and a vibration of lack. But gratitude relaxes the spirit and allows abundance to flow freely. To say, "Thank you for what is here now," is to send out the signal that you are ready for more. It tells the universe that you are a wise steward of blessings, and the universe responds by entrusting you with greater supply. The power of gratitude is not dependent on circumstances. Even in difficult times, when resources appear scarce, gratitude changes the atmosphere. It is easy to say thank you when life overflows, but the true power of gratitude is revealed when it is spoken in the face of need. To thank life for provision before it arrives is to plant a seed of faith, and that seed will always produce increase. Gratitude spoken in advance calls the unseen into the seen. Gratitude also awakens awareness. Much of what you desire may already be present, but unnoticed. When you practice gratitude daily, your eyes open to the richness around you, relationships, opportunities, skills, and resources that were overlooked. Gratitude is a lens that reveals treasure hidden in plain sight. By appreciating what is already yours, you discover that you are wealthier than you imagined, and this awareness itself attracts more wealth. Every great teacher of abundance has emphasized the power of gratitude because it shifts your inner state. Gratitude is not just a practice, it is a frequency. When you live in thankfulness, you radiate joy, peace, and openness, and these vibrations draw good to you. People are naturally drawn to those who radiate gratitude, and with them come opportunities, connections, and resources that multiply your supply. Gratitude becomes a magnet for every form of prosperity. Gratitude also multiplies through action. When you are thankful, you treat what you have with care. You use money wisely, you nurture relationships, you honor your gifts. This care naturally multiplies your results. Money handled with gratitude expands. Friendships honored with gratitude grow stronger. Talents used with gratitude open new doors. Gratitude not only attracts more, but preserves and multiplies what is already present. Even the simplest words of thanks carry power. Whispering thank you over your meals multiplies the blessing of nourishment. Saying thank you over your income, no matter how small, opens the way for increase. Beginning and ending your day with gratitude creates a circle of abundance that grows stronger with every expression. Gratitude does not wait for more to appear, it multiplies what is already here until more cannot help but arrive. To live in gratitude is to live in multiplication. Every thought of thanks is a seed of increase. Every word of appreciation is water upon the soil of abundance. Every feeling of gratitude is sunlight that causes blessings to grow. When gratitude fills your heart and flows through your words, life has no choice but to multiply what you already hold, turning little into much and much into overflow. Generosity opens hidden channels of income. It is the act of releasing what you hold so that the flow of abundance may continue without blockage. Many cling tightly to what they have, fearing loss, and in doing so, they unknowingly close the doors through which new wealth might enter. Generosity is the key that unlocks those doors. When you give freely, you align yourself with the eternal circulation of prosperity, and in that circulation, more always returns to you than what you released. The universe operates on the principle of flow. Rivers do not hoard their waters, they pour into the seas, and yet they are always replenished. Trees do not cling to their fruits, they let them fall, and the soil gives back even more in season. In the same way, money and resources must be kept in motion. To hoard is to block circulation, but to give is to allow movement, and in that movement, wealth is multiplied. Generosity keeps the stream of prosperity alive and ever increasing. Generosity also demonstrates trust. When you give, you declare that your supply is endless, that you do not fear running out, that you believe in a source far greater than yourself. This faith calls forth hidden channels of income, unexpected opportunities, and new streams of provision. Life mirrors the energy you project, and when your actions declare abundance, abundance must answer. Every gift you release becomes a seed planted in the fertile soil of divine law, and in time, that seed returns as a harvest multiplied. The channels of income that open through generosity are often surprising. Sometimes they appear as sudden business opportunities, promotions, or creative ideas that generate wealth. At other times, they come as gifts, partnerships, or unexpected sources of money you could not have planned for. Generosity does not always bring the return from the same place you gave. It comes through channels you may never have imagined. This is why giving is never loss, but always increase. Generosity also changes the giver. It removes the spirit of fear and replaces it with confidence. When you give, you step into a vibration of abundance. You no longer identify with lack, but with overflow. This shift in identity attracts new experiences that match your new state of being. People who are generous often find themselves surrounded by others eager to bless them, support them, and include them in opportunities. The very act of giving reshapes the atmosphere around your life to one of openness and prosperity. Generosity multiplies not only money, but also favor. When you give, you create goodwill that returns in unexpected ways. A kind gesture, a helping hand, a gift given in sincerity, these acts build invisible bridges of blessing. In times when you least expect it, those bridges open to deliver support, opportunity, and income that might never have reached you otherwise. The generous heart creates connections that become hidden channels of wealth. To practice generosity does not always mean giving vast amounts. Even the smallest act, done in faith and joy, carries power. A coin, a smile, a word of encouragement, all are seeds of generosity, and all return multiplied. The size of the gift matters less than the spirit in which it is given. A generous spirit always attracts abundance, for it reflects the nature of the universe itself, which is ever giving, ever flowing, ever supplying. Generosity keeps wealth alive, active, and moving. Stagnant water grows stale, but flowing water remains fresh. In the same way, money held in fear diminishes, while money circulated in generosity grows. When you give, you join yourself to the endless flow of divine supply, and in that flow, hidden channels open, opportunities arise, and income appears from directions you had not known existed. Fear closes the gates of prosperity, faith opens them. Fear is a wall, an invisible barrier that blocks the natural flow of abundance. It whispers of loss, scarcity, and failure, and in listening to its voice, the mind becomes shut off from opportunities that could bring increase. Fear paralyzes action, clouds judgment, and causes one to cling tightly to what is already held, shutting down the circulation through which wealth grows. Every gate that prosperity seeks to pass through is locked tight by fear, for fear is a declaration that supply is limited and that loss is inevitable. Faith, on the other hand, is the master key that opens those gates wide. Where fear says, "What if I fail?" faith says, "What if I succeed?" Where fear says, "There is not enough," faith says, "There is always more than enough." Faith is not blind wishing. It is the deep knowing that unseen supply is greater than visible lack. Faith turns the mind toward possibility, and in that shift, new channels of wealth appear. It is the confidence that provision is already prepared, that opportunities are already aligned, that success is already waiting to be claimed. Fear operates in the unseen just as faith does, but while fear creates lack, faith creates abundance. When a person is driven by fear, their words, thoughts, and actions all reflect hesitation. They say, "I can't afford this," "I must hold on tightly," or "I may never have enough." These words are seeds of lack, and the harvest is more of the same. Faith speaks a different language. Faith declares, "I always have more than enough. Money flows to me in perfect timing, and I live in overflow." Such words plant seeds of prosperity, and the gates open for the harvest to appear. Fear not only blocks opportunities, but also blinds the eyes to see them. A fearful person may stand in front of an open door and never step through because doubt convinces them it is unsafe. Faith gives the courage to walk through doors, even when the outcome is not yet visible. Many fortunes have been missed because fear held someone back from seizing a chance, while many successes have been achieved because faith gave someone the boldness to act. Faith sees the unseen and dares to step forward, and in doing so, it discovers that provision was waiting all along. Fear shrinks life, while faith expands it. When fear is in control, decisions are made from a place of survival, and survival never leads to abundance. Faith, however, invites expansion, growth, and new levels of prosperity. Faith says yes to opportunities, yes to growth, yes to increase, and that yes opens gates that fear had once closed. Faith draws resources, people, and circumstances in alignment, as if the whole universe rushes to support the one who dares to believe. Fear is rooted in the illusion of separation from supply, but faith is rooted in the truth of oneness with infinite abundance. When you live in faith, you are no longer swayed by appearances. Even when circumstances seem bleak, faith anchors you in the unseen reality that provision is assured. This assurance keeps you steady, removes anxiety, and attracts prosperity in perfect timing. Fear sees only the obstacle. Faith sees the path through it. Fear sees emptiness. Faith sees fullness already prepared. Every moment is a choice between fear and faith. To choose fear is to close yourself off from the endless stream of prosperity. To choose faith is to swing wide the gates and invite that stream to flow freely. Fear contracts the soul and tightens the hand, but faith expands the spirit and opens the hand to give and to receive. Where fear builds walls, faith builds bridges. Where fear sees endings, faith sees beginnings. And it is always through faith that prosperity finds its way, flowing effortlessly through the open gates of a believing heart. Expectation is a magnet that pulls riches toward you. What you hold in expectation is what life arranges itself to deliver. Expectation is not idle wishing, nor is it vague hope. It is a powerful inner stance that declares with certainty that good is on the way. When you wake each morning expecting increase, opportunities, and blessings, you set in motion unseen forces that align people, circumstances, and events in your favor. Just as a magnet draws iron effortlessly, expectation draws prosperity into your experience without strain. Expectation is born from belief. If you believe the world is full of lack, you will expect shortage, and shortage will appear. If you believe that life is overflowing with abundance, you will expect prosperity, and prosperity must come. Expectation shapes your perception so that you see only what matches your inner conviction. A person who expects failure overlooks open doors, while a person who expects success sees opportunities even in challenges. Expectation determines the lens through which you view life, and through that lens, your reality is formed. Expectation also carries a vibration that others can sense. People are drawn to those who carry confidence, to those who expect success in all they do. This energy inspires trust, and trust opens doors. Employers promote those who expect advancement, clients are attracted to those who expect to deliver value, and investors place confidence in those who expect profitable outcomes. Expectation creates an aura of certainty that invites opportunities to flow. The universe responds not to begging, but to expectation. When you beg for riches, you affirm that you do not yet believe they belong to you. But when you expect riches, you affirm that they are already yours and simply unfolding into your life. This subtle difference is the key to manifestation. Expectation carries authority. It is a declaration of rightful ownership. It says, "This wealth is mine by divine order, and it arrives at the perfect time." That declaration pulls what you desire from the unseen into the seen. Expectation must be consistent to hold its magnetism. Doubt weakens the pull, just as scattered energy weakens a magnet's field. If one moment you expect increase and the next moment you expect failure, you send out conflicting signals. But when you hold steady in expectation, even when appearances seem contrary, you build an unshakable force that nothing can resist. Life bends to the one who refuses to let go of expectation. Expectation also prepares you to receive. When you expect company, you prepare your home. When you expect rain, you carry an umbrella. In the same way, when you expect riches, you make space for them in your life. You organize your finances, you set goals, you create systems to handle increase. This act of preparation signals to life that you are ready, and readiness accelerates manifestation. Expectation without preparation is incomplete, but expectation with preparation becomes irresistible. Every day you are either expecting riches or expecting lack, expecting increase or expecting loss. The choice is yours. Expectation is not passive, it is active creation. It is the force that draws from the invisible into the visible, from the possible into the real. When you expect wealth with unwavering certainty, you summon it as surely as a magnet draws iron. The riches you seek are already present in the unseen, and expectation is the power that pulls them into your hands. Your thoughts are your fortune. Guard them well. Every outward condition of life is but the reflection of the inner patterns of thought. Just as a garden reveals the nature of the seeds planted within it, your life reveals the quality of the thoughts you consistently entertain. Richness of mind produces richness of life, while poverty of thought produces poverty in experience. Thoughts are invisible treasures or invisible debts, and over time they always manifest in form. To guard your thoughts is to guard your fortune, for it is in the mind that true wealth begins. The mind is a field, and every thought is a seed. If you plant thoughts of abundance, peace, and success, you will inevitably reap experiences that reflect these truths. But if you allow fear, doubt, and lack to take root, then your harvest will reflect struggle and limitation. Many people attempt to change their outer conditions without first tending to their inner garden, and they wonder why the results do not last. Lasting prosperity cannot be built upon unguarded thoughts, for thoughts are the foundation upon which all visible wealth stands. Guarding your thoughts does not mean ignoring reality, but it does mean refusing to let appearances dictate your inner state. You may see lack before you, but you must not let thoughts of lack dominate your mind. Instead, you hold fast to thoughts of provision and increase, knowing that conditions shift according to the seeds you plant. Just as a gardener does not curse the barren soil, but continues to sow, water, and wait, so too must you hold steadfast in cultivating rich thoughts, even when evidence of the harvest has not yet appeared. Every thought carries vibration, and this vibration attracts experiences in harmony with it. A person who thinks continually of shortage unknowingly attracts shortage into their life, while one who thinks continually of wealth draws opportunities, people, and ideas that create wealth. Your fortune is not in the hands of others, nor is it in the economy, nor in chance. It is in your thoughts. Guarding them is not optional. It is essential, for every unguarded thought is a doorway through which loss may enter. To guard your thoughts is to become selective. Not every idea deserves residence in your mind. Just as you would not allow a thief into your home, you must not allow thoughts of fear, failure, or doubt into your consciousness. When such thoughts appear, you replace them at once with affirmations of truth. Instead of, "I will never succeed," you declare, "I succeed in all that I do." Instead of, "There is not enough," you affirm, "I live in endless supply." This vigilance transforms the mind into a fortress where only prosperity is allowed to dwell. Guarding thoughts also requires attention to the influences around you, the conversations you entertain, the media you consume, the people you spend time with, all plant seeds in your mind. If those seeds are negative, fearful, or rooted in lack, they will grow unless removed. To preserve your fortune, you must surround yourself with voices of increase, with ideas that inspire, with environments that uplift. The mind must be nourished with the food of abundance if it is to yield a harvest of wealth. Thoughts not only shape wealth but also shape character. A rich mind creates a generous spirit, and generosity itself attracts further riches. A poor mind creates envy and fear, which repel abundance. By guarding your thoughts, you not only build material fortune, but also cultivate the inner wealth of peace, joy, and purpose. These inner treasures ensure that when outer fortune arrives, it can be sustained and enjoyed. Your fortune is not built in a day, nor is it destroyed in a day. It is shaped moment by the thoughts you entertain. Every thought is an investment, either in increase or in decline. By guarding your thoughts and choosing only those that align with abundance, you secure a fortune that cannot be taken from you, for it is built upon the eternal law that thoughts become things, and what you hold within must eventually appear without. Align with purpose, and money flows as a servant. Money was never meant to be the master of life, but the tool that serves a greater vision. When a person pursues wealth without purpose, they often find emptiness even when riches arrive, for money without direction leads only to restlessness. But when life is aligned with a higher calling, when every action is rooted in meaning, money takes its rightful place as a servant that supports and expands that calling. Purpose is the compass that directs prosperity, and without it, the flow of money loses clarity. Purpose gives wealth its meaning. To earn money simply to possess it is to hold a resource without aim, but to earn it in service of a vision is to turn it into power. When you align with your divine purpose, you no longer chase money anxiously. Instead, money is drawn to you, pulled into the orbit of your mission. The universe funds what is in alignment with truth. Just as rivers flow toward the sea, so too does money flow toward a life aligned with purpose. Chasing money without purpose is like chasing shadows. You may grasp something, but it slips away. Yet when purpose becomes the foundation, money arrives as a companion. The teacher who fulfills a calling to uplift others finds resources arriving to expand their work. The creator who pours heart into meaningful expression attracts the patrons and opportunities that sustain them. The entrepreneur who builds with integrity and vision discovers money flowing steadily into their business. In each case, purpose is the root and money is the fruit. When you align with purpose, your energy shifts. Work no longer feels like burden, it becomes an expression of truth. This energy is magnetic, drawing people, opportunities, and income toward you. Others sense authenticity, and authenticity inspires trust. Trust becomes business, business becomes income, and income becomes expansion of the very purpose that began the journey. The cycle is effortless because it is natural. Purpose fuels prosperity, and prosperity fuels purpose. Purpose also protects from misuse of money. When money is the master, greed takes hold, fear arises, and decisions become clouded by anxiety. But when money is the servant, it is guided wisely. It is directed toward growth, generosity, and the fulfillment of meaningful goals. This creates stability, for money rooted in purpose does not scatter. It multiplies. It is no longer a fleeting possession, but a loyal worker that continues to build in alignment with vision. Even in times when money seems absent, purpose sustains. The one aligned with true calling does not despair, for they know that resources must follow purpose as surely as harvest follows seed. They remain steady, confident that money will arrive at the right moment to serve the mission. This trust opens channels for provision in ways that are often surprising, unexpected opportunities, support from others, or ideas that generate income effortlessly. Purpose keeps the heart steady until the servant of money arrives. Aligning with purpose requires listening inward. It is the quiet knowing of what you are meant to give, to build, to express. When you live from this place, every action carries weight, and every step draws support. Money is never far from those who live in truth, for money recognizes direction and gladly follows where clarity leads. To align with purpose is to tap into a current of abundance that was always prepared for you, a current that flows without end. In the end, money is neutral, neither good nor evil, neither blessing nor curse. Its nature is to follow. It follows fear, and it slips away. It follows greed, and it corrupts. But it follows purpose, and it flourishes. When you align with purpose, you never need to enslave yourself to money, for it comes willingly, obediently, and abundantly, flowing as a servant to the higher vision that guides your life. Opportunities are never missed. They are divinely redirected. Life does not operate on chance or mistake, though at times it may appear so. What seems like a closed door, a lost opportunity, or a missed chance is in truth a redirection toward a greater unfolding. There is a divine order that governs all paths, and every apparent delay or denial is simply a turning of the road toward what is truly meant for you. To believe in missed opportunities is to believe in lack, but to understand redirection is to rest in the assurance that nothing good is ever withheld. When one door closes, it is easy to fall into despair, believing the chance will never return. Yet in reality, that door closed because it was not aligned with your highest good. The universe does not remove what belongs to you. It redirects you away from what would have diminished you. What looks like loss is often protection. What feels like rejection is often preparation. The unseen hand knows far more than human sight can perceive, and it arranges the path so that you arrive exactly where you are meant to be. Opportunities carry energy, and not all energy is meant for you. Some opportunities appear golden but are lined with hidden burdens. Others appear small but lead to vast expansion. When you trust the divine redirection of opportunities, you stop grasping at every chance that comes your way. Instead, you discern, release, and allow yourself to be guided. The seeming missed opportunity is nothing more than an invitation to something greater, often unseen in the moment. Consider the person who is denied a position they longed for, only to find later that the role would have stifled their growth. The denial pushed them toward a different path, one that opened doors to influence, creativity, or freedom they would never have known otherwise. What appeared as failure was only redirection, a loving correction of the path. In hindsight, such moments reveal themselves as blessings that preserved and elevated destiny. Trusting redirection requires faith. Faith that the unseen is wiser than the seen, faith that the closed door is not punishment but alignment, faith that nothing truly belonging to you can ever slip away. Many live in regret, rehearsing moments they call missed, but regret blinds them to the door already opening before them. To cling to what has passed is to miss what is arriving. The divine does not work in lack but in overflow, and every redirection leads not backward but forward into greater expansion. This truth also frees the heart from envy. When you see another receive what you desired, you need not believe you were deprived. Their path is not yours, and their opportunity was not meant for you. Yours is already on its way, designed specifically for your growth, your joy, and your abundance. The universe is too precise to misplace blessings, too generous to run out of chances, too abundant to leave anyone without. Redirection is not only about protection, but also about timing. An opportunity may be true, but not yet ripe. To receive too soon is as harmful as not receiving at all. In those moments, delay is not denial, it is preparation. The soil must be ready, the foundation must be strong, and you must be aligned to carry what is coming. What feels like waiting is the unseen arrangement of circumstances that will make your arrival perfect. To live with the knowing that opportunities are divinely redirected is to live free of fear. You no longer panic at the thought of missing out, for you understand that nothing slips away from the one who trusts. Every twist, every turn, every detour is a thread in the design of your life, weaving together experiences that lead you precisely where you are meant to stand. What is yours cannot be lost. It can only be redirected, refined, and delivered in its perfect form. Patience is wealth's silent partner. In a world that urges speed, instant results, and immediate gratification, the quiet strength of patience often goes unnoticed. Yet all true wealth, whether material or spiritual, requires time to grow. Just as seeds take root before they push through the soil, wealth too demands stillness, waiting, and trust in the unseen process. Patience is not passive, it is the active practice of faith, the ability to hold steady while the invisible forces of growth are at work. Impatience scatters energy and breaks alignment with abundance. It drives people to grasp, to force, and to chase money in ways that only exhaust and deplete them. They rush into ventures without foundation, they spend without wisdom, and they abandon paths that would have borne fruit had they endured a little longer. In contrast, patience allows wealth to mature naturally. It builds endurance, deep roots, and strong character, creating not fleeting riches but lasting prosperity. Patience also protects from fear. Fear whispers that time is running out, that others are getting ahead, that opportunities will vanish if not seized at once. But patience silences fear with the assurance that what belongs to you cannot be taken. It allows you to move deliberately, making wise choices, discerning true opportunities from false ones, and building foundations that will endure. Impatience leads to loss, but patience leads to multiplication. In relationships with money, patience is discipline. It is the decision to save instead of spending impulsively, to invest with foresight instead of gambling recklessly, to build gradually instead of demanding instant riches. Those who partner with patience often appear slower to the world, but they arrive with greater stability. Their wealth does not vanish at the first storm because it was built with care, timing, and trust in the process. Patience also nurtures creativity. When you are not rushing, you give space for ideas to unfold, for intuition to guide, for inspiration to strike. Many fortunes are lost by those who hurry, but many fortunes are made by those who wait for the right idea, the right timing, the right opening. Wealth responds to wisdom, and wisdom is sharpened in the silence of patience. The unseen law of wealth honors patience because patience is alignment with divine timing. To rush is to declare mistrust in the order of life. To wait with faith is to declare confidence that life provides in due season. Patience keeps the heart calm, the mind clear, and the spirit aligned, ensuring that when the moment of increase arrives, you are prepared to receive it fully. To embrace patience as wealth's silent partner is to embrace peace in the journey. It frees you from the frantic chase and anchors you in trust. Every delay becomes preparation, every pause becomes protection, every season of waiting becomes a hidden blessing. Wealth that is rushed often slips away, but wealth that is partnered with patience grows roots so deep it cannot be shaken. Patience does not merely wait, it gathers, strengthens, and multiplies, ensuring that when abundance arrives, it comes to stay. Refuse to accept limitation. It does not belong to you. From the moment you were created, you were born into a universe of endless abundance, possibility, and expansion. Limitation is not your inheritance. It is a lie whispered by fear, doubt, and the conditioning of a world that has forgotten its divine source. To accept limitation is to shrink your soul into a container that was never meant to hold it. You were designed for freedom, growth, and increase, and any thought of lack or boundary that denies this truth is an illusion that must be cast aside. Limitation often disguises itself as logic, caution, or realism. It speaks through voices that say, "You cannot go further," or "This is as much as you deserve," or "Opportunities are only for a chosen few." But these voices are not truth. They are echoes of belief systems built on fear. When you agree with them, you hand over your power. When you reject them, you reclaim your rightful inheritance. To refuse limitation is not arrogance. It is alignment with the infinite nature of the source that created you. The mind is the field where limitation tries to root itself. Every belief of lack is a seed planted by repetition, experience, or influence. But you have the authority to uproot these false seeds and replace them with the seeds of abundance. When you declare, "I will not accept limitation," you draw a line that says, "No thought of insufficiency may govern your life." The universe expands to meet the measure of your belief, and when your belief is limitless, your possibilities unfold in ways beyond what you can imagine. Many live inside cages with invisible bars, thinking they are trapped when the door has been open all along. They remain bound by limitations they never questioned, never challenged, never refused. But the moment one dares to believe that limitation is not real, the bars dissolve. Opportunities appear where there were none. Strength rises where there was weakness. Ideas flow where there was silence. What changed was not the external world, but the refusal to accept the lie of restriction. To reject limitation is also to release comparison. When you measure yourself against others, you inherit their boundaries, but your path is your own, and your wealth, your success, your destiny cannot be measured against another. Limitation tells you there is only so much to go around, but truth reveals that abundance is infinite. What is yours cannot be taken, and what belongs to another cannot diminish you. Refusing limitation means stepping into your own limitless expression without fear of scarcity. Limitation shows up most strongly in the face of dreams. The moment you reach for something greater, doubt arises to remind you of past failures, current obstacles, and imagined barriers. But those who become truly successful are not those who never face limitation. They are those who refuse to bow to it. They look beyond appearances and see the unseen supply. They speak words of increase when everything around them whispers lack. They choose faith over fear, expansion over contraction, and trust over doubt. Every story of transformation begins with someone who refused to accept limitation. They were told it could not be done, yet they did it. They were told there was not enough, yet they found abundance. They were told they were unworthy, yet they rose into greatness. What separates them is not circumstance but choice, the choice to reject limitation as false and claim freedom as truth. To live beyond limitation is to live in harmony with your divine nature. It means seeing obstacles not as barriers but as redirections, delays not as denials but as preparation, and challenges not as defeats but as opportunities to expand your strength. Each time you refuse limitation, you grow into more of who you are meant to be. You step into a flow where all things are possible, where wealth is natural, and where freedom belongs to you by divine right. Prosperity is your birthright. Claim it boldly. From the moment you entered this world, you were endowed with the divine right to live fully, freely, and abundantly. Prosperity is not reserved for a chosen few, nor is it something you must beg for or prove yourself worthy of. It is the natural inheritance of every soul, the flowing river of supply that exists for all who are willing to step into it. To deny prosperity is to deny your true nature, but to accept it boldly is to align yourself with the limitless abundance that life has already provided. Too often people shrink back from prosperity, believing it is selfish to desire more or unspiritual to enjoy material blessings. They confuse humility with lack and faith with sacrifice. Yet the truth is clear. The same divine force that created endless stars, oceans, and forests did not create you to live in lack. Just as the rose blooms without apology and the sun shines without hesitation, you too were designed to express prosperity in every form. To claim less is to limit the expression of life itself. Prosperity is not only about money, it is about fullness in all areas of life. It is the wealth of health that energizes the body, the richness of love that fills relationships, the abundance of ideas that fuels creativity, and the material supply that supports freedom. When you boldly claim prosperity, you do not take from others, you expand the field of what is possible. The universe is not limited in its resources, it overflows with more than enough for all, and your share is waiting for you to receive it with confidence. To claim prosperity boldly requires a shift in consciousness. You must release the old stories that say you are unworthy, that wealth is only for the privileged, or that money is scarce. These are lies taught by fear, tradition, or circumstance, but they do not reflect truth. The truth is that you were created for abundance, and prosperity seeks you as naturally as water flows downhill. Boldness is not arrogance. It is the refusal to live small when you were made for greatness. When you begin to claim prosperity, life responds. Doors open where there were none. Opportunities appear as if from nowhere. Synchronicities align to bring you what you need, often in ways you could not have planned. This is because claiming prosperity is not just a mental act, it is a spiritual declaration that you are aligned with your rightful inheritance. It is the vibration of certainty that calls forth supply from the unseen into the seen. Those who hesitate, waiting for permission or proof, remain stuck in cycles of lack. But those who dare to stand boldly and affirm their prosperity find that life rearranges itself in their favor. Confidence draws wealth, while timidity repels it. To whisper your desires in fear is to weaken their power, but to declare them boldly is to activate the law of abundance. Wealth is not chased, it is attracted by right consciousness. To chase wealth is to believe it is running from you, as if it were something distant, difficult, or unwilling to be yours. This mindset creates struggle, anxiety, and frustration because the very act of chasing affirms that you do not yet possess it. But when you shift into the right consciousness, wealth flows toward you with ease, as naturally as a magnet pulls metal. The right state of mind does not force, it allows. It does not chase, it attracts. Right consciousness is the awareness that abundance is your natural state. It is knowing that the source of supply is limitless and that you are a worthy recipient of it. When your inner world is aligned with wealth, the outer world mirrors that alignment. Thoughts of abundance, gratitude, and possibility create a vibration that calls prosperity into your experience. Just as poverty consciousness repels opportunities, wealth consciousness draws them near. What you hold within is what you magnetize without. Chasing comes from fear, from the belief that there is not enough or that you must compete endlessly to secure your portion. It creates desperation, and desperation pushes wealth further away. People who chase money often find themselves exhausted, constantly striving yet never fulfilled. But those who cultivate the right consciousness move differently. They are calm, certain, and expectant. They know that wealth comes to them through alignment, not struggle. They trust the timing of life and act with faith rather than fear. To attract wealth, you must think wealth. You must speak as if it already belongs to you. You must carry yourself with the dignity of one who knows they are supported by an infinite source. Wealth consciousness is not about arrogance, it is about certainty. It is the quiet confidence that the supply you need is always available and that nothing can block what is rightfully yours. This consciousness eliminates worry and replaces it with expectation. Right consciousness also means living in harmony with abundance, not contradiction. You cannot think thoughts of scarcity and expect wealth to arrive. You cannot speak words of lack and hope for riches. You cannot dwell on fear and open the gates of prosperity. The consciousness you hold determines the reality you create. When your thoughts, words, and beliefs are saturated with increase, you naturally draw opportunities, ideas, and resources that multiply your wealth. Attracting wealth through consciousness is not passive. It is active alignment. It is about tuning your mind and spirit to the frequency of prosperity. Just as a radio must be tuned to the right station to hear music, your consciousness must be tuned to wealth to receive it. Every act of gratitude, every affirmation of abundance, every refusal to dwell in lack is part of this tuning process. The more consistent you are, the stronger your magnetic pull becomes. Those who understand this truth do not run after wealth because they know it is already in pursuit of them. They place themselves in positions where opportunities flow naturally. They recognize ideas as channels of supply and act on them with faith. They view money as a servant, not a master, and they do not cling to it in fear. Their consciousness creates an atmosphere where wealth cannot help but appear. Chasing belongs to those who doubt their worthiness. Attraction belongs to those who know who they are. When you embrace the right consciousness, you step out of struggle and into flow. Life brings you the right people, the right doors, the right timing. What once seemed distant now unfolds effortlessly. You no longer live in pursuit. You live in receipt. Wealth is not chased. It is attracted by right consciousness. The more you align your thoughts with abundance, the more you attract it. The more you affirm your worthiness, the more life proves it true. The more you trust in supply, the more supply rushes to meet you. It is not about chasing wealth across deserts of effort. It is about becoming the magnet through which wealth flows naturally and without end. True prosperity is not a matter of luck, chance, or endless struggle. It is the inevitable result of aligning thought, word, and action with the eternal laws of abundance. Wealth flows not to the frantic, but to the faithful. It is not something to be hunted down or begged for, but something to be claimed as an inherent right. Each principle reveals the same truth in a different light. That the unseen shapes the seen, that faith dissolves fear, that gratitude multiplies, that generosity opens channels, and that patience anchors prosperity. To live by these truths is to step out of lack and into flow, out of limitation and into expansion. The universe is rich beyond measure, and it responds to certainty, expectation, and boldness. Prosperity is your divine inheritance, and when you embody the consciousness of abundance, you become a magnet for all that is good. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you attract when you remember who you are and walk in the fullness of that truth.